What's up, everybody? I'm Kay Simone. Alongside me, I have my partner, Ali John, and you are now tuned into yet another episode of Champions Corner. This week on the table of the Champions Corner, we have Albaner. I got it right?
Yeah. Nah, for real, that's dope. Albaner, yeah.
So let our audience know what it is that you do.
Okay, my name is Al. Well, my name is Albaner, but it's a lot easier to call me Al. Well, I am someone that I would consider to be a son when it comes to God. I am a brother, a friend. I love to inspire people when it comes to my films, short films, just with music and just I like to just be. I just like to be.
I
so
like that.
yeah.
Nice.
Where are you from for everybody that doesn't know?
First of all, I'm from North Jersey. I'm from everywhere up north, but I just want to make that very clear. North Jersey is where it's at. That is the place to be. But I moved around a lot, so I'm just gonna say I'm from North Jersey to kind of like take care of that.
Where you move around from? Let's list them.
Well, when I was really, really young, I first lived in Newark, then I lived in Orange, then East Orange, back to Orange.
Yeah.
Then moved to Union, went to high school in Union.
It's the only part that matters, but...
Yeah, well, then went back to Irvington, then moved to Orange, then actually stopped in Willingboro for a little bit. That's actually really far.
Yes.
Irrelevant.
Yes.
But back in Orange, shout out to people know my information, but yeah.
Which one did you like the best?
I mean, I spent the most of my time in Union, so I mean,
Okay,
made some
okay.
good memories there. You know what I mean? Real rap.
So what'd you go to school for? Like, what school did you go to? What did you go to school for?
Well, I started actually in the school in PA, and I went to school because I just thought that was the normal thing to do. I actually didn't I wanted to go to a film school in Chicago, but my mom was like, nah, go get your education. And I was like, all right, well, people go to school for business. So I was like, let me just do business. And
That's like the main thing.
Like,
goes to school
I was
for.
really good with like marketing and stuff. So I was like, all right, let me just do that. But it was so bad. I was miserable. And I was looking around like, why everybody like college? And I'm like sick. Like, I'm not enjoying this. And no, for real. And God just led me to get involved in like psychology. And he showed me like I did have a love for people. And I always had this desire to understand why people did what they did. And psychology was literally like what I actually did, and it was dope. It was challenging at first because I had to tell my parents, oh, this is the route I'm going. And when it comes to psychology, a lot of people are like, okay, but there's no money in that, and there's no, like, what are you gonna do with that? But then actually now I'm actually getting my master's in to be a counselor.
Nice.
So it's really dope. So yeah, that's what I went to school for. So.
What part of college did you not like?
The work. No, actually, I never found a balance. I never understood that whole thing. There's a balance between your social life and your I never understood that. I couldn't. So it was like I had to just focus on all school. Like even with some of my videos, I had to stop all that when it came to school. So I didn't like the work. I love the social part, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned your videos. So what exactly do you do video-wise?
So I actually, it's primarily whatever God really puts on my heart to do, whatever he shows me, and I'll just do it. Like, I really just want to inspire people to get to know God. I really want people to understand who God is. I want them to just really walk away and say, you know what, I want to spend time with God. Like, I want to get to know him more, and I want to just talk with him and know how easy it is to talk with him.
Right.
And I do that by honestly just giving them a truth about who he is. So like if I can give you an aspect about God that make you go, wow, like God really loves me. Like, let me talk to him. Like, that's really the goal. And there's some short films to kind of get people to see, like, oh, wow, like, I relate to that. I connect with that. And I'm not alone in what I'm going through. Right. That's really the goal with some of the videos. So
I like that.
So do you, like, find ways to, because you said you're really into psychology, do you find ways to incorporate some of the things that you learned about in psychology to kind of, like, drive or, find a direction in your videos?
Yeah, there's actually a project coming up. It's called Embryo. There's actually there's some exercises that are involved inside the project, but it's in a creative way. So like you won't know what it is. And even in some of the videos, like, when it comes to like even counseling, like a lot of what counseling really is just you're able to identify things or behaviors that the person may not notice. So it's like that's kind of like in a sense how I integrate that. But like there is a video coming up where there actually is an exercise being used, but in a creative way. So I definitely have started doing that. So it's dope. It's very exciting.
Now the name Embryo, where exactly did that come from? Where did it stem from? And what was the creative process behind that?
Well, this project is real special to me. It's to raise self-awareness for people to really become self-aware with who they were before pain hurt, rejection, or maybe the lies that they've been told, the lies that they believe, or just like, like as we grow, like something that I realized, like we really take on another identity in a sense to survive, period. Like, you see what I'm saying? And like, it's two things. Like, I just wanted to go back in time to when people were younger. And the video is primarily for men, even though women are going to watch. It's for the men. And I really want them to kind of get back to the little boy inside of them. Before all the pain, before they had to kind of put on a mask. But the term embryo, it's like that early stage. And then it actually came about, like the actual name, like the direction was I want to target that early stage of life in a sense, but just in a creative way. But with the guy who produced the beat for me, he literally was like, yo, like, did you get a name for you? I was like, nah, but I just know the direction I want to go. And he's like, oh, it's in the embryo stage. And I was like, oh my God, that's the name. And that's fire. So that's how that came about. But yeah.
Nice.
So where do people find some of these short films or some of your projects?
Primarily on YouTube. Believe it or not, I'm not even a fan of social media, but like, it's an outlet.
Yeah.
So YouTube is like where most of these long videos can go. But like, I'll do like a snippet on like Instagram, like, go watch it on YouTube. But it's all on YouTube.
Right. So I saw in one of the snippets you posted on Instagram, you were talking about prayer, and you mentioned that a lot of people want to know whether God can actually hear them. And I feel like in our generation, that's a question that's asked a lot.
Yeah.
So how would you respond to how do you pray? And if you feel like God really hears you, how would people actually know that?
Well, the thing with God is, it's like the real challenge isn't really like, it's faith. Faith is substance of things we hope for, but we can't see it.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like, if we could see God, we all be good. It's like, all right, he's here, I see him, I know he's listening, but it's like, I think when it comes down to it, there's always going to be that level of, okay, am I just talking to the wall?
Yeah.
Or is God really listening? But what's so special about God is he said, if you seek me, you'll find me. And he'll even reveal his mysteries to you. But then the other end, it's like, when we pray, he answers. And I think it's when he answers the prayers, you kind of go, wow, God really is real.
Yeah.
Like, God really hears me. So it's like, it's that journey in seeking him, finding him, believing in him, and then seeing his word come true. It makes you go, nah, this is it.
Legit. Right.
So, yeah.
So like, me being like your friend outside of everything, I kind of seen the transformation that you had from, high school to college and then after college. Can you speak a little bit on that transition and how it really came to be?
Well, I would definitely say it was always a struggle for me, trying to find that balance, because I was raised in church, raised around church. It's crazy because I never had a problem with the idea of God or even faith in God, because of my mom, primarily because she not only did she live it, but I got to see the hand of God in her life, where it was like, okay, I can never deny that he's real. And then I had just experiences where I seen, like demonic things, and seeing like things like possession and stuff like that really woke me up. And I remember like my junior year, I would go to school and I would be like, yo, like, this is all real, y'all. Like, so like, we gotta take this seriously. But I never had that switch with my life, or like, I knew he was real, but like, I'm not in a place where I can really say I'm following him. And you guys being my friends, like, seeing I had a struggle, and really what my struggle was communication. Like, okay, this is what God is doing in me. How do I communicate that and not be, oh, he's weird, or he corny now, or he into that now? It's like, that was the biggest struggle of trying to balance both lives when it doesn't work. And it's like, it was such a struggle. But when I just realized, number one, if I communicate something to people who are really for me, they're going to support me, even if they don't understand it. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, it was just that journey of just like communicating, okay, this is what God's doing in me. But the struggle really was, choosing God isn't the popular route. You see what I'm saying? It's not,
unfortunately,
it's not like, oh, like, okay, you want to live for God, and that's great, you know what I'm saying? But the reality is, it's like, it's a choice that you have to make. And unfortunately, the hardest part for me was separation from certain people. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, not that the people were bad, but certain things that was going on in the environments that I was with some of these people, it's like, okay, I can't do that no more, but I love y'all, so we got to find the balance. You see what I'm saying? And the real friends, which are the people that are still my friends, okay, we do this, you don't, let's meet halfway, type of thing. So the struggle was communicate in separation. But it was a journey, like I said, because, you know, I loved what I did. I loved my life. I loved what I was into. I loved what I got into. But one thing I will say, it was kind of weighing things on a scale. Like, okay, this is what God has for me, and this is what I can do, but it doesn't really work. It doesn't really get me nowhere. But his love, his plan for my life, it outweighed it all. So it was kind of like, dang, Al, you know what God wants to do in your life. You're going to turn it down for something temporary or something that's fleeting or a false sense of security or peace. So it was kind of like, it was that journey again, saying, okay, I obviously want to choose God, but in choosing God, it also meant separating from certain things and people, which was the struggle. So, but to God be the glory, I'm here, and I'm not perfect, but it's an amazing journey, and I thank you for being a friend and always encouraging me and pushing me. Like, you know, a lot of people don't get to see what goes on behind closed doors, but I appreciate my friends.
What exactly is the halfway of the friendship that you guys had? Not saying that you do bad things,
right,
but, you know,
I would say halfway. Like, one thing I always give them credit for, they come to my services, or if I have to minister somewhere, if I have to preach somewhere, they're always there, and they don't understand. It means so much to me. I like because what I do, it's like, you don't have to come because it's not about me, but your support matters. Seeing you matters. You see what I'm saying? So like, and we chill. Like, they're not crazy. We don't be no wild stuff. But you know, it's a balance of like, all right, you know, when you guys, let's say, I have no idea how to really, because there's no, with us, it's like, we just be chilling, like, you know what I'm saying?
Let me think of something.
Oliver's a good guy, you know?
Nah, but it's like, all right, this is, I could use an example like this. Like, the life he's trying to live, right, or the life he's currently living, certain things that he just really can't do. Like, say if I wanted to, you know, go out and party, right? And drink, even though I don't really drink and do all that stuff, I'm not going to invite him or influence him into trying to come with me or accompany me to somewhere where I know it's not good for him in the life he's trying to live. So I would never do that. And on his end, it's like, he'll invite us, you know, places. And, you know, sometimes we'll be like, you know what, we don't really want to go. And he's perfectly fine with that. But the majority of the time, wherever he invites us, we try to show up and be, you know, as supportive as we can as friends. Because, you know, it's hard. Sometimes we don't understand. But at the end of the day, if it's for him, we know we're going to understand it later. But he just needs us to be there for him now.
And I would say also, like, because whenever this conversation comes up, sometimes it gets into this, okay, we can't in this life of following God. But the reality is, it's not that we can't, it's we don't want to. And not because, again, it's just, put it like this, just to get straight to the point. If someone that you trusted, that was in a sense leading you closer to God, who is holy, who is pure, who is righteous, or we know that I want to make sure it's an untainted person, not tainted like as in people are bad, but just for the simple fact that, like, you wouldn't want to see your pastor in the club with you. It's kind of weird. You see what I'm saying? You wouldn't want to see your pastor even living something he did not preach. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, even how God is set up, he's not saying, okay, you can't. It's, I have something better for you. You see what I'm saying? So it's a journey, but, like, you know, it's, like I said, they don't, you know, my friend's not crazy. They don't be wilding. So it's when I say balance, it's like, realistically, like, we just be chilling. Like, we was wilding in high school.
Settle down.
We too old now, like, so
like, what's the biggest difference you would say between your YouTube page and your Instagram page? Because you post a lot of the clips on Instagram, but how would you influence somebody to say, hey, it's not just, you know, clips on Instagram, there's whole bodies of work on my YouTube page?
One of the things and this is a marketing thing, I think everybody would do better at. I don't like to say the links in my bio. I feel like it works, but I feel like if I give you something, the content is good, it's gonna make you want more. If what you're showing me is dope, I could say, like, you know, the full videos on YouTube, great, but link in my bio sends me messages. It's like, people get lazy when they see that. People get frustrated when they see that. It's weird, but it's a psychological thing that it could be a little too deep. But I like to just really, if I give you a dope promo is my favorite thing to do. So my Instagram is all promo. You're not gonna get like a whole video. There's some clips that I know is on YouTube. I'm like, well, if I never reach Instagram because I only did it for promo to make you go, what is that? I want to go watch more of that. You see what I'm saying? So I give you like a snippet of something, it's gonna be like, okay, where can I find that? And obviously they'll click the link in my bio and see it. I think it's dope. One of the things about artists, which is it could hurt us or even better us, I guess. It's that desire to not be understood. Like, I have no desire for people to be like, okay, what is he doing? And I'm seeking to give them clarity. Like, when you seek to be understood, you put yourself in a box. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, nah, I'm just gonna create great content that God puts on my heart, and whoever it's for, it'll get to them.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I put it like this, like you guys are into radio. If somebody comes in here and says, great mics, it's like, oh, okay, cool. But if somebody says, hey, what model mic is that? What year was that? Man, you go, oh, this person's a learner.
Yeah.
Come sit with us. We want to put you on. Mm-hmm. There's a level of interest you see in someone seeking. You see what I'm saying? And it's like how God is set up. He's like, seek me. And it's like, when you're seeking him, he's like, okay, in your seeking, I know you want more of me. So here's the more. So it's like, Instagram is like, if you just want a quick encouragement, right, cool. But if you're like, no, I want more of this, there's like more things of substance in a sense on YouTube. So yeah, I know it's deep, but it's dope. It's dope to see.
Yeah. Is there like a creation process you go through to create the things that you do create, or it's like you said, whatever God puts on your heart, you're just, I mean,
it's a journey though. Even with that, like for me, like I don't do deadlines. I don't have a project's gonna drop, It's literally, I could be chilling, just being. Like, I just like to be. I don't like to put too much pressure on. Like, I gotta put some work out. No, I just be chilling, and then gotta put like an idea in my heart. Like, wow, that's such a great idea. Like I did a project on fatherhood, and literally how he did it. He told me, he said, son, I want you to go around and ask fathers 3 things they love about fatherhood and 3 things that they don't like about fatherhood, the pains that come with it. I was like, okay, cool, and I did it, and for a whole year. And it just blessed me to see, wow, fathers really get to see the heart of God like we would never be able to see. And then literally, like a year later, he said, son, I want you to turn this into a documentary. And then I did it. So it's like, it's just like that whole journey. It's no rush to it. It's just, I could just do it. And that's why it's enjoying, like I can enjoy it because it's like no pressure on me. Like, but when it comes to editing, I will say, I love to edit. Like I love putting stuff together. Like I'll be behind my laptop like, yo, this is fire. So it's dope. But that's the process. It's really, I just be chilling and God will just go, doop. So
that's the best way.
Yeah.
So like, I know there's a lot of things that you get into that you really don't post about, that you don't really publicize, but I know because I'm your friend, why don't you make these things more public?
Well, I think, the Bible says that those who, kind of boast about what they do or show off what they do, it's like, they have their reward. But there are things that we do in private that God rewards us for. So it's like, it's 2 things. I want God's reward. Likes, comments, all that stuff, that's great. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, let's say we fed the poor. That's great. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you did it for the people, then great. You got the applause. You see what I'm saying? But if you did it truly out of love and for God, you're going to get his reward. And that's so much bigger. But I think when it comes to what I do personally, like I was talking to my boys today in the car. Like, I don't consider even what I do on Instagram to be something that it's not insignificant, but it's not the real essence of what God calls me to do. That's just a byproduct in a sense of what comes out of my relationship with God. But the real stuff is the stuff that no one sees. You see what I'm saying? Like, whether it's our presence, our love, our sacrifice in people's lives, or what we do, again, in private. And it's just, I think it robs. Like, it's I always say it's a 2-way argument, because it's like, okay, if we promote doing good, it inspires people to do good.
Right.
But then there's that, okay, but sometimes if we're real, social media can kind of infect our motives, because it's like, we can be enjoying the moment. It's like, yo, pull out your phones, post it. It's like, it just robbed the moment. Yeah. It's like, yeah, we get to show everybody we lit, but it's like the essence of what's happening right now is too precious. And sometimes I think, I love just the time I get. Like, a lot of my friends, like, we have so much good time together and do so much together, and we don't really post about it, and we've never even been in that lane. So but I actually plan on keeping it that way. I really love that. Like, if I'm quote unquote popular, there's still a side of me that you just don't know.
Right. If you don't mind sharing, what are some of those private things that you wish not to share via social media?
Like, I don't talk about service, period. A lot of the service I do, whether it's for my church, or again, like, just to some of the responsibilities I have. But I will say, something even more deeper than that is like my love life. My love life is not on social media.
Nice.
Not saying I will keep it off. Like when I get a wife, everybody's gonna know. I always tell people they don't have to get confused about that. They'll know. But no, I love showing off my friends though. That is on social, my friends, and I talk about my friends and God. If you go on my page, you just see me shouting out my friends and God. But no, I just my page is it is me, but that's not my heart. Well, it's my heart, but you see, it's not the essence of things that are precious to me. You see what I'm saying? I just don't feel like certain things, like social media is weird.
Yeah.
People will start to think they're entitled to know, what do you do? Who do you talk to? What you getting into? How much money you make? Where do you work now? Like a lot of people didn't know that now people are gonna know I'm getting my master's, but I didn't, when everybody was posting they're getting their master's, I thought that was dope.
Yeah.
But I just don't desire, in a sense, that type of attention to that. You see what I'm saying? So I just kind of keep it private. That's just me. You know what I'm saying? I like to have a personal life, because private life, as you guys know, like once your life is out there, it's like you walk around, everybody just assumes they just know you, and it just it's frustrating, and people talk about you or they put you on pedestals, and I just like my private life. Yeah.
You mentioned women. How old are you?
I don't like giving my age.
Oh man. Well, I feel like you're in our bracket,
right.
and it's real spooky out here.
Yeah.
With the love life. I'm not even gonna lie.
I ain't gonna hold you. I feel bad for women.
Yeah. So how easy or hard is it for a man of God to find the right woman?
I think it's just as hard for everybody. But I will say this. I think that there's a lot of amazing women out there. A lot of amazing women. And a man of God or whatever, all that stuff, like, people are people. You know what I'm saying? Like, and we are so if I was using a biblical term, I would say I'm sinful. But realistically, I'm not perfect. You see what I'm saying? And the reality is, I think people see me and put me on a pedestal. Like I don't make mistakes, or I don't have, some bad decisions. And the reality is, like, the issue for us men is the challenge to continuously seek God for help. Right. And I will say, for me personally, since you kind of brought to like the man of God perspective, I would say for me, I only knew what I used to do. You see what I'm saying? And I hadn't really dated since I kind of started living for God, in a sense. And like I would guess listening to people, trying to get involved in like dating, I've made ton of mistakes, ton of bad decisions, and trying to be perfect and trying to be this person that, it's difficult. You see what I'm saying? Because relationships are a challenge, and relationships will expose things about you. You see what I'm saying? Like, you didn't know what's there until you in a relationship. So it's like, it's one thing I will say, it's a journey, but I think intimacy is our issue for our generation. I think intimacy is sharing, it's an openness, it's a vulnerability, it's a transparency, it's a respect, and it's like, without that, it's shallow. And a lot of people wait till there's some type of union or some type of commitment to become intimate, and it's like, oh, put a ring on my finger and then I'll show you who I really am, or propose, or we wait till it's too late, and then we take off our mask, we reveal, and we get transparent, and then maybe somewhere we're joined with, kind of, it's like, oh, I don't know who this person is. Yes. Or even before, unfortunately, we don't address things that need to be addressed. So our issue is like, we're all afraid to be vulnerable, we're all afraid to be transparent because we've been hurt. It's valid, but it's just that a lot of us will choose to stay away from intimacy, and unfortunately land in shallow surface things. And it's like, we see signs, we know it all, we see it all, but unfortunately we have this weird thing telling us that it's going to get better, we can just fix things or make it better. And it's like, if it starts off wrong, it's going to end wrong. So it's like, intimacy is our challenge. We have to make a challenge. It's trust issues. Like, I'm not trying to get intimate with nobody. Like, that's like, what? Like, what are you gonna do with my heart when I give it to you? You see what I'm saying? And that's the challenge for our generation, because right now we're all looking to just survive. And I think our generation, man, we've been crushed by so much. But I think in that journey with God, though, I will say the advantage, I would say, would just be in a relationship with God. He begins to reveal things about you to you, so that not you could be better for yourself, but then for others. And with relationships, I think the challenge is not necessarily to get in a relationship, but staying single and working on what you need to work on to be prepared for a wife or a husband. And for me, as a man, I need to be prepared for my wife. And I'm not even gonna lie, I really think I'm a great guy, but there's things I have to deal with. There's things I have to work on to be a good husband to my wife. You see what I'm saying? And it doesn't make you weak. It makes you real. That actually is the beginning. That's the journey to wholeness. Wholeness is not, there's no real idea of you're gonna be perfectly whole. You're so perfect. No, wholeness starts when you start to accept the parts of yourself that you deny. That's when it starts. When you're like, listen, I'm gonna be real with you. I struggle here. Yeah. But the goal is, let's work on it. Right. You see what I'm saying? But it starts with God. And I think sometimes our generation, we like to be in a relationship and then work on our stuff. Exactly. It's toxic, unfortunately. So, yeah.
So, like, speaking on intimacy, right? It's hard. Like, being a person of your stature and your caliber, how do you pick and choose who has certain access to you? Because at the end of the day, intimacy isn't just like, a relationship kind of thing. It's friends, it's family. Yeah. So how do you pick who has certain access to you, and how do you set certain boundaries with certain people?
That's a great question. I would say, if I would use a biblical term, I would say fruit. But what I would say was just evidence. What are they showing me? Jesus made that very clear. Don't pay attention to anything else but what they do. That's it. Like, people could talk a good game, people could move, but what are they showing you? And it's like, for me, something that I had to learn the hard way was people who had access to me, because I love so hard. And I used to give my heart out. Like when the Bible said, guard your heart. I thought God did that. But you have to do that. And something I've learned, you can't be a wall, you have to be a fence. A wall keeps bad people out, but it also keeps bad people in. But a fence, you can open and close that door, as in, okay, you have to leave. But then also when you see healthy people, you can come. So it's like, we think, okay, I have to be closed off to everything. It's like, no. There are some great people out there. But usually we mismanage our hearts. Like me, I mismanaged my heart for so long, where I just gave my heart to people who didn't deserve it, but it was never their fault. Yep. If they ever hurt me, it was always me, because I saw things, and also they didn't even show me things for them to even have the opportunity to have my heart. But I gave them that access. So I would say, what are they showing me? What are the fruits that I'm looking at? You see what I'm saying? Is this person trustworthy? If they're not trustworthy, why am I giving them responsibility? Is this person patient? Are they kind? Are they gentle? Are they faithful? What are they known for? What's their reputation? Something that's big for me is gossip. I do live a private life outside of social media, and people confide in me a lot, but I really don't like name dropping. I don't like people talking about people. Like, nobody around me in my circle, you don't like that, we shut it down. But when people talk about you, talk about people, it's safe to say they're going to talk about you. And I've learned that the hard way as well. Like, people come to you saying, oh, so-and-so, da-da-da-da-da. And you look at them, you think to yourself, if they're doing that to them,
imagine what they say about me.
Imagine what they're going to say about you. And they may not do it then, but until you do something wrong, they're going to talk about you. So that I would say, again, I just, what are they showing me? What are they bringing to the table that makes me say, okay, I can trust them? And I think we rush relationships and friendships and so much. It's like, give it time. Time tests people. You see what I'm saying? So, like, we could chill. We can hang out. We can grab food, lunch. We can go here. We can go there. But I'm not going to give you my heart. Right. But until I start seeing things, I was like, okay, cool. And I always say, some of my friends and just relationships here, everything for me is tested through fire. If you can go through fire with me, all right. As in something, let's see, when pressure hits, how do you respond? Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Even when, like, for me, because I'm in a public eye, when you see aspects of me that aren't perfect, how do you respond? I've had people that, they tell me they love me, all that stuff, but when I fall, when I make a mistake, it's, unfortunately, they talk about you, or they turn against you. And that hurts. That hurts because, again, you give your heart to certain people and you expect, in a sense, that same love that you may give out. But it's not always the case. And people, unfortunately, they base their friendships off, okay, what can you do for me? What can I get out of this? Even relationships and the real love is unselfish. It's, okay, what can I do for you? How can I serve you? You see what I'm saying? And hoping that you get that same back. But it's never about, okay, what can you do for me? And when you start with that, it gets all crazy. But I've just learned, look at what people are showing me, and then I'll go about. And even listening to God, because God be speaking. We be getting all the signs, like, yep. And we just like, well, no, I just see good, or I just think. When God is showing you something, just pay attention. That's all. But yeah.
That's my favorite thing to ask. Like, I'll get on my knees and I ask, like, God, just send me a sign to show me if somebody is for me or somebody against me. And usually it comes like that. Like, it's so fast. It's literally so fast. And it's just hard. It's hard to ignore, but we find a way to ignore it every time. And it's disappointing, but, you know, that's us. We here to make mistakes.
Go
ahead.
No, go ahead.
I wanted to ask you how you deal with certain kinds of hurt. Like, when somebody you thought was really close to you hurt you, how do you deal with that pain?
Well, something I'm not going to lie that I've learned, not just the fact that I have to forgive. I always make sure at the end of the day, it's my family practice that we forgive first. But I always remember that people's behavior is not a reflection of me. It's something that either they're dealing with, something that they're going through. It is not about me. And I've taken things personally before, but I've learned, like, yo, it's not about you. How they're acting, how they're responding, how they treat you, it's something that they got going on. And when you look at it through that lens, they take that weight off you. You lose offense. You lose, you know, and you kind of just, it makes you just love them more. It makes you pray for them more. It makes you realize, like, yo, like, whatever you got going on, that you're so broken that the only way you know how to respond is to hurt others. I don't got no time to be mad at you. I need to be praying for you. Like, you need help. You need real help. And, you know, it definitely does hurt. Like, I'm not going to say this thing, it hurts, but I think prayer and just remembering that they're going through something, it just reminds you that, yo, like, put you to the side, not in a sense, like, not in a non-self-loving way, but just more of like, they clearly need help. You see what I'm saying? And they're hurting. Hurt people. So but like I said, I used to take stuff so personally. Oh my goodness. Like, oh my God, it must've been me. I must've did. And it's like, nah, that's something I've learned, that people's response towards you is not a reflection of you. Right. Unless you've directly hurt them. And there's people I've hurt. And I always try to make peace with them, because it's like, I'm like I said, I'm not perfect. And especially people that love me, they know, like, I'm a lot to deal with. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, I try to thank them every day for their patience, because there's things that God's working on me with. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, I would never want someone to feel that way, like, Al really hurt me in a sense. And I never, ever try to address or even bring clarity to it, because that's my heart. Like, but I've hurt tons of people, but thankful for the people that, like I said, stay. But there are people that, you know, we've all hurt. I think that, you know, we probably wish we can get a second chance, but the reality is, like, we learn something, and that's the best part. So, but yeah.
I feel like a big part of our generation is afraid of church. And a big reason why is the elders that are there. Very judgmental, very like, I mean, it's okay to be by the book, but just the way that they handle younger generations want to come to church. So what would be the biggest piece of advice that you can give to people our age about stepping into church?
I would say, like you mentioned, it's okay to stay by the book. I think that it's actually the goal to stay by the book, only because the book is where the real love is. Absolutely. You see what I'm saying? Like, people don't read the book. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think of this, the perfect story is when Jesus, he had caught the woman in adultery. That basically, like, she was cheating on her husband. And literally, like, when you read it, it says she was caught in the act. So imagine being caught having sex with someone else and you're cheating. So she's probably naked. She's probably ashamed. And you see the religious leaders come up to her, and they're all ready to stone her. They're all ready to just cast judgment. Jesus walks up and he's like, yo, which one of y'all did not sin, cast the first stone. And then it says he just knelt down, he started writing in the sand. The Bible doesn't record what he wrote, but we don't know what he wrote, but it made all those religious leaders put down their stones and they walked away. Before he even addressed that young lady, he took care of all her accusers. So it's like, the church should never be people who throw stones or judge or cast anything, but it's supposed to be a place to cover. You see what I'm saying? And then Jesus turns to her and he's like, yo, go and sin no more, as in, you don't need to do this. And she goes on to be the greatest evangelist that almost ever lived. And she was a woman, powerful. But it don't matter what Jesus said. I would have been like, who are you? Like, could you imagine? You're exposed. Could you imagine how guilty, how ashamed she felt? She was actually in the wrong. And Jesus wasn't even, he was like, yo, first of all, I'm getting rid of them. Then I'm going to turn to you and I'm going to validate you. I'm going to affirm you. I'm going to lift you up and show you what you were really called to do. So it's like, it's not just, oh, you know, you're doing wrong. It's like, no, God has so much for you. And let me pour into you. Let me love on you. Because that's what Jesus did. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, when it comes to the church, I'm very sensitive when it comes to church, because I am an advocate for the church. the real church. You see what I'm saying? Because the church is a place where we should run to, because that's the house of God. That's the place we should be like, oh, I want to go closer to God. I want community. I want family. I want love. I want his presence. And it's like, it's unfortunate, but again, we're human. It just proves how human we are. Like, we can mess up such a perfect love story that God has shared with us. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I would say to any person that is afraid of the church, to pray and find a good local church. Talk to some people that you know that are in the faith, that clearly have demonstrated a healthy lifestyle. Say, hey, what church do you go to? And go check it out. If you like it, if God speaks to you to stay there. But I would definitely tell somebody that there are some amazing churches. This is amazing people out there that really love God and that will heal people from church hurt. Church hurt is, one of the main reasons why people stay out. But it's one of those things where if this Burger King don't treat me good, I ain't gonna stay away from that other Burger King. I ain't shouting out Burger King because we want to eat healthy, but it's one of those things where we can't let ourselves stay away from the love of God because a church did us wrong. Correct. Not all churches are the same, and people, unfortunately, again, have misused their authority, their leadership, their titles, and that's why we want to just make sure that every day that people can see Jesus in us, so they can say, you know what? It was just that church, right. Wasn't God. Because that's really huge in our generation, because I think everybody loves God. I think everybody genuinely wants to get to know God, but there's fear involved. There's feeling exposed involved. Like, the Bible makes it very clear. The only reason why people actually stay away from God because they feel like he's going to expose something about them. And then the scriptures just keep going. It's like, but don't stop there. He's exposing it. He's revealing it to give you a solution. Right. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's like the only difference between me and anyone else is not only did I choose Jesus because I understand that he's going to save me from my sin and I'm going to get a great place to live after I die. The thing is I recognize that there's something really, really wrong with me and I need help, and he's the only one that could do it. So I would just tell that person, like, yo, don't let how someone have misused God's name to keep you away from God, because the truth about God is going to draw you. God really loves us, yo. It's crazy. So, but yeah.
I like that. I feel like that's touching, right?
Yeah, so it's like, with you being like, you're a public servant in every sense of the word, like psychology, counseling, ministry. Where do you find time, to decompress? Like, some people say, oh, what is he like? How does he have fun? What does he do?
Yeah, and something I've learned that, God has called us to do certain things, but he's also called us to enjoy certain things. And I really enjoy spending time with my family and my friends. Like, those are people that it's therapeutic for me, but also something I've learned even recently. Like, I have to take time to do things that I love. And like I said, a lot of what I do, I don't do it by pressure. So I naturally just have time to just enjoy. You see what I'm saying? The things that I love. And I love to shoot videos. I love to create. So those literally, that's how I decompress realistically, is I just do what I'm called to enjoy. And it just so happens that what I'm called to enjoy blesses others. So it's just dope. Like, you know what I'm saying? But there are times, I think burnout is real for everybody. That's why I don't like when people say, oh, when you find what you love to do, you won't work another day in your life. No, it's work. It's still work. But, but it's, I think, my friends and my family, that's like, but they're not always available. But what I will say is, there's things that I love to do. Like, I love watching inspirational movies. Like, I love movies. I can go to the theater by myself all the time. I just love watching movies. You see what I'm saying? But, it's just finding things that I love to do, like playing the keyboard, playing the piano has been something that's been very therapeutic for me as well. Like, there's little stuff like that that just, you gotta make time for. I think our generation is just so busy, because I feel like if we're not busy, we think we're being unproductive. Yep. And it's actually okay to rest. And even the Bible says God gives rest to those that he loves. So it's like, team no sleep is kind of like irrelevant, because it's like, nah, God gives you rest. When you're living in favor, you don't have to work as hard. You see what I'm saying? Because God will put you in places that your network could never have gotten. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, I've learned to just rest, because you're God's daughter. I'm his son. He said basically, like, if we ask for food, they're going to give it to us. How much more will our Heavenly Father do? So there are things that we're called to do. We have responsibilities, but there are certain things that God just does for us just because. And because of how he has my life set up, I'm able to just enjoy him and enjoy my family, my friends, and I get to make time for that. I always get concerned when I see somebody that can't make time for things that they love, or the people that they love, because something's off. something's not right. And, you know, I get it. You keep going, keep striving, but eventually you're going to see that all of that stuff was fleeting. And you're going to wake up one day and say, dang, I didn't give no time to the people that I loved or even the things that I love. And what I thought this was going to give me, it didn't. It just gets unsatisfying and unfulfilling. So, but yeah, I just like fun stuff, you know.
What do you think about prosperity gospel?
Like, give me an example.
I don't want to like bash them because I do watch like Joel Osteen's and the Creflo Dollars and the who's the other one?
Saying names.
I'm sorry, Charles Stanley.
Okay, we don't gotta say no more names. I got you.
Those type of people.
So give me an example of like what you would hear.
They're very, I don't know, like
do this, get this.
Kind of, or like not saying that they're not for their people, but mostly like when Hurricane Katrina happened, I heard the whole like Joel Osteen church thing. It was kind of like a money maker for them, which made certain people feel like you're not in it for the Lord, you're in it for what you can possibly get out of this.
Right. Well, what I would say is this: being a leader is a very, very challenging thing, and there are things that we don't see that goes on behind closed doors. One thing I know about Joel Osteen's church, it is the Houston Rockets old stadium.
Oh, nice.
They don't just have a team, they have a staff. It takes a staff to run that place. You see what I'm saying? And the reality is I don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know the full story, so I can't necessarily speak on it. I just know that when it comes to leadership, there are things that I have to do that people won't necessarily understand, but I have to make a call. You see what I'm saying? So I would just say, you know, if I don't know it, if I'm not there, if I don't even go to that church, I just don't like to speak on it. But when it comes to the gospel or the message that they preach, I can speak on because we all have the same word in a sense. But what I will say is a lot of those people, they misunderstand them. Like, for example, Joel Osteen, a lot of people don't know he doesn't take a salary from his church at all. All his money came from the things that he's done, like his books and stuff like that. But people will always raise the side eye to how much money someone has. But again, I can't speak on that. And I'm always going to be one of those people who say, I don't know what it feels like to wake up with millions of dollars in my pocket. I don't. So I could sit here with my little change and talk about what I would do if I had millions. It's like, I don't know. But what I will say is I will strive to make sure that I'm serving God as much as I can. But what I will say, I can't necessarily speak on what happens in their churches. I don't know. I'm not there. And I don't lead in that church. I don't serve in that church, so I can't speak on it. But what I will say is when it comes to the message of prosperity is a real thing. There's nothing wrong with prosperity. I think the issue is when we try to buy something from God or when we try to twist God's arm to bless us. We don't have to do that. And something that I think is beautiful, and I encourage all my friends all the time, like, yo, you're going to come to a place in your walk where you're going to realize it's not what you did to get God to bless you. He just did it just because he loves you. And I think that is the most freeing thing to understand. He said, if you love me, you'll obey me. And what that simply means is if you love me, you'll just show me in your actions. But that has nothing to do with, all right, do this and I'll give you a car. It's like you'll be striving your way to earn God's love, his acceptance, and his blessing. And then you end up manipulating God to do what you want him to do. And it just gets weird. So that's not God's message. But I think the blessing behind God's prosperity is he loves you. Yeah. Period. You're his. If you have a daughter, there is no one in this room, in this world that can convince you not to do something for her or love her or just give her the world. If you could, you would. Correct. Period. No one's going to stand in the way. If somebody even hurts or harms or even talks about her, it's over. They got to answer to you. And you're just a human being. How much more would God do? You see what I'm saying? Your daughter don't got to do nothing. She can't do nothing. She's a baby. What's she going to do? You're going to love her regardless. Even when she's walking towards you and she falls, you don't get mad at her for falling. She's learning how to walk. You see what I'm saying? It's just like this idea that we have to be or do or act a certain way to get God to love us. All she had to do, your daughter, was be born. And you loved her. She's going to turn 13 one day. She's going to talk back. And you're going to discipline her. But you love her. So at the end of the day, she's still yours. She just got to learn a couple lessons here because she can't be talking back to her mom. You see what I'm saying? So we got to understand that God he's a father. You see what I'm saying? And he's not our genie. He's not rub the lamp, get him to do this, get him to do that. But it is a beautiful thing that we can ask him for things. You see what I'm saying? But the thing is about God, as a mom, you realize your daughter's going to ask for certain things. You're going to be like, that's not good for you. And she's going to cry. and she's gonna cry, but you're like, I'm gonna have to endure these tears because I know in a due time you're gonna say, Mom, thank you for not getting me that, because it wasn't good for me. Same thing with God. Sometimes when we have unanswered prayers, we think God must not love me, or maybe I need to do something, and it's like, no, maybe it just may not be good for you. Right. And we all can attest. There's some things that we've been like, yo, thank God I didn't get that. Thank God I didn't have that. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of things I'm so glad I never got. Oh my goodness, I'd have did some crazy stuff. But it's God he does things just because. And I think that's one of the most freeing truths to know. Like, God really loves us, so he just does. You see what I'm saying? But his first and foremost way of loving us was dying for us. And nobody in this room can ever think of anybody that would die for us. Even our parents, like, they would probably have to think about it. I'm like, okay, but what did you do? Nah, he was like, nah, I'm coming and I'm dying for you. That's who really love you more than God do. Nobody. So
that's a fact.
Yeah. That's my take on that.
So for the man that wears many hats, what's next for you in terms of just, your ministry and projects? Like, what's next for Al?
Because I rock with y'all, so I guess I'll talk about some stuff. I have been really focusing on my church right now. Really building a lot of things, introducing some new things, but I really have been focusing on integrating things with counseling in the church. It's a pain to hear people say that the answer is not in the church, or like when it comes to things like depression, anxiety, suicide prevention, all those things, and they say, okay, yeah, but prayer doesn't work for that. I need a counselor. That's great, but the church has it. You see what I'm saying? That's why I'm making it my business, not just to get my education, but to really serve people, because those things are real. And I've dealt with all of those things before. And it's not to say that prayer is not the answer, but there's things that have to be done. There's actions that need to be taken. There's some things that need to be looked at. And counselors are really good for that. You see what I'm saying? And what's so dope about it is the counselor doesn't remove God's position. The Holy Spirit, one of the attributes of the Holy Spirit is he's a counselor. So it's dope to know that God can speak to you and identify things about you that you may not notice. So to have God use me as a counselor, I really want to make sure that's something that not just is in my church, but bring in workshops that I do already for the church and for people to come. So doing ministry, not differently, but differently in a sense, where it's like, I'm all for events and services and cool stuff like that, but I really want to start, bringing some of these workshops that me and my guys do into the house and really helping people in that way. So That's really what my focus is right now, really just staying low, staying grounded, staying focused, because it definitely is a challenge. I think when people look at me, they just automatically assume I have no issues, no problems, or the enemy's not even after me. Nah. It's difficult, and I had a very, very rough year this year too, where a lot of what I wanted to do really, not that it got set back, but I definitely I didn't get to do, in a sense, what I know God really wanted me to do this year. So it's really, I'm like really focused on that right now. I really want to make sure no distractions and stuff like that, because this is really important to me and God. So that's really my goal, really, to really focus on my house and bring what I know to the house when it comes to counseling, because people are really struggling with anxiety, depression, and suicide. It's really a huge thing right now. So, yeah.
Nice. So thank you,
of course,
for invading the Champions Corner table today. You guys are amazing.
This was great. Great.
Would you like to let everybody know once again where to find you, where to find your videos, and even where to come to your services if need be?
Yeah. Well, on Instagram, my name is Albaner. That's where I'm at. Albaner, C. Eugene Jr. on YouTube. You could just check out those videos, and if you follow me, I'll maybe drop a flyer next time I'm preaching somewhere. So, yeah. Thank you, guys.
No problem. Thank you for coming. You guys have just tuned in to yet another episode of Champions Corner at LRM Network.